Good morning. Welcome to Time in His Word. Have you ever thought much about the word temptation and what it means and how it works in our lives and just how are we tempted? I mean, is the little things like trying to avoid buying a bag of potato chips, is that considered temptation? And if we give in and we buy the bag of potato chips knowing that we shouldn't, especially if we're trying to lose weight, that now we've messed up that process of trying to lose weight. Just what is temptation? Or is it the bigger things, like a married person being tempted to get with somebody who's not their spouse for whatever reason? Is that the same thing as trying to resist buying a bag of potato chips? How do you perceive temptation? Is it the big things like being unfaithful to your spouse, or the little things like buying a bag of potato chips when you shouldn't? In James, the first chapter, verse 13 says, "Let no one say when he is tempted, I am being tempted by God. For God cannot be tempted by evil, and he himself does not tempt anyone." So if God's not the one tempting us, just who is? Well, it's Satan, but Satan has to be allowed to tempt us, especially if we're a child of God, because we're God's children. He's going to protect us. So then, if he allows us to be tempted, is he also allowing us a way out of being tempted? In other words, is there an out? So if we're being tempted to do one thing, is the opposite way to go from being tempted to not being tempted a clear picture, and we just need to more or less turn around and walk away from the temptation? Or is the temptation so great that it draws us in and we don't even think about turning around and walking away until it's too late and we've done bitten the fruit, for a lack of a better word? So just what is temptation? How do we view it? And is it different from one person to another person? Well, I think it is. I think it is different from one person to another. Like the bag of potato chips. I've been trying to lose weight, so I have no trouble walking down that aisle, and I don't even think about buying a bag of chips. I'll look, but what I'm looking for is pork skins. I like those, and those aren't. They don't have a lot of calories, but they have a lot of protein. And I'm learning about proteins and calories, and I still haven't got it down. But I'm learning to read labels and not buy foods that are not going to be health-wise benefit. And I'm struggling with that, but I'm learning, and that's a learning process, just like anything. But at the same time, like I said, I'm learning to avoid the foods that aren't good for me. So there's still that, every now and then I still look at potato chips and think, I like to have a bag of potato chips, but I don't. And I think it's the same way throughout life, that we were always faced with temptations on one level or another. But I want to say, for me, it's the character, your character and who you are has a lot to do with the way you're tempted and whether or not you walk away from that temptation. So, in other words, looking at it is in 1 Corinthians, the 10th chapter, verse 13 says, "No temptation has overtaken you but such as is common to man, and God is faithful, who will not allow you to be tempted beyond what you are able, but with the temptation will provide the way of escape, also that you will be able to endure it." And I think, and this is just my personal, I think sometimes the way we are tempted in whatever it is, it's a character builder, or could be a character builder. there's really no big, like the potato chips. No big deal. I turned around, walked away, and didn't buy any. But if you're tempted to cheat on your spouse and you're able to recognize that and you turn around and walk away from that to me speaks of your character. And maybe that's something that you as an individual has dealt with all your life, of being unfaithful, and you've gotten to the point where you're able to recognize you're fixing to go down a road you don't need to be on, and you're able to turn around and walk away from it. Well, how did you get to that point? Many ways. I'm not going to offer my 2 cents because I've never been tempted like that, or I've never had to worry about that. But I'm just assuming that as we get older, we're supposed to get a little bit of wisdom to us. And I think all of life's experiences play a factor in how, as we get older, we're able to recognize temptations and turn and walk away from them. Now, will we be 100% able to do that every time? No, I don't think so. We're human. We're going to fail. That's just part of our makeup. But I think, like I said, as we get older and we get wisdom and we get life's experiences and have lived life, it allows us that extra edge to be able to recognize and turn and walk away from temptations. And I like this in Corinthians says, and God is faithful, who will not allow you to be tempted beyond what you are able. And I think temptations comes in many different forms. It's not just thinking of cheating on your spouse. It could be any number of issues. If you work in a bank and you're having financial trouble, it's hard not to get sticky fingers. Who's going to miss $100 here or there? You know, we can fix the books to cover that up, but at some point in time, it gets out of control. You know, or you work a concession stand with a lot of cash for drinks and that, and you put $2 in the till and you put $1 in your pocket. Who's going to know at the end of the day? You know, I just think that as life goes on and we're supposedly getting this wisdom from living life and that, I think we do obtain the ability to recognize when we're being tempted by something, but we also should listen to that inner self that says, don't go down that road, you need to turn around and go the other way. So just remember this verse today, 1 Corinthians 10:13. No temptation has overtaken you, but such as is common to man. This is the part I like. God is faithful, who will not allow you to be tempted beyond what you are able, but with the temptation will provide you a way of escape so that you will be able to endure it. If you feel like you're being tempted, take a look around before you take that next step to see which way you need to go to get away from the temptation.